In this video, I'll walk through the flow that I like to use when using our opening range breakout platform to find breakout setups. Now I'm making this video with about 15 minutes left until the markets close, so most of this video will be spent around actually walking through the process. When the markets are live and open, you'll find many more setups than the ones we'll talk about right now, given that we're at the tail end with many of these trades having closed. Now, when you log into the platform, here's what you'll be greeted with. At the top, you should notice a handful of tabs: the Live Scanner, our Backtester, there's a full charting platform, a reporting functionality, and then we have watch lists. If you're using the platform during live market hours, during weekdays, the scanner is where you should be spending most of your time. If you're trying to do research or something of that nature over the weekend, the backtester and the reports is where you should spend most of your time. That's where you can do a little bit more deeper dives, start to run things like 100 symbols at a time to see where are we seeing stronger performance versus weaker performance, long, shorts, things of that nature. Backtester also lets you go into granular detail on each particular trade. Now, the live scanner is where we basically take all of our backtests and we put that together in a brain of sorts where we say, okay, show me only the best setups. So that's where all of these filters you see on the left-hand side come into play. So right now, this is filterless. The only filters I have are a minimum win rate for this particular setup of at least 75%. This is over 90 days, so a 3-month minimum win rate. A positive trade expectancy, a positive trailing P&L, minimum volume, average volume of at least 1 million shares, and then a minimum price of $10. We're looking for longs and shorts. You could filter that. You could filter 5, 15, or the first 30 minutes. Pick and choose based off of what you like, or select all if you'd like to see all the setups. And you can pick and choose based off of if you're looking for a half range or a full range trade. So what's your risk to reward ratio? Now, the first thing I like to do is adjust this sort filter. I want to look for open trades only. You should notice all of these trades have this green bubble, which tells you that these trades are still open. They have yet to hit their stop or their target. Now you can click this drop down, which then allows you to see the details of each trade. And here's what I like to pay attention to. I first pay attention to the P&L, especially if you're in the latter half of the day. I look for places where this P&L is actually negative. It being negative tells me that I'm getting an entry price that's better than what the entry was when the trade actually triggered. So at 638, at 76.85 is what you had to use to enter this breakout. Right now I'm getting an entry price that's about 5 cents better, so 76.80. Next thing I like to take a look at is what is today's width compared to the average width. Are we more or less in line, or is today's width much wider or even much narrower? And in Zoom's case, we can see that. Here, the width today is much wider than the average of 83 cents. So all of this is information that you can then use to fuel your decision of, is this a trade you want to actually pay attention to? Now with shorts, if you're using Thinkorswim, another thing you need to account for is if that stock is easy or hard to borrow. A lot of stocks inside of Thinkorswim are hard to borrow. If you use a different platform like Robinhood, you can work around that restriction. Now, when it's early in the morning, you'll notice that the scanner has hundreds and hundreds of trades, if not thousands, especially if you're using the all symbols watch list here. That's because our watch list, or rather the symbols that we can support with this scanner, is more than 10,000 at this point. So obviously, you can't take 10,000 trades, so we need to be a little bit smarter. That's where I like to use our watch list as that first means of filtering down the trade to only the symbols you care about. You can create your own watch list here if you'd like, or you can use some of our pre-built ones. So I'll use the Dow 30, and one more time I'll zoom in on just the open trades, and now notice how much smaller this list is. Salesforce and Caterpillar. Those are the two places where I still have the morning opening range breakout trade still open, quote unquote. Caterpillar is a long, Salesforce is a short. Salesforce is fairly close to its entry, Caterpillar a little bit further away. We can take a look at the width. We can see that inside a Caterpillar, today's width is a little bit wider than the average width, not that much different. Inside a Salesforce, today's width is smaller, narrower than our average width, suggesting a little bit less risk than usual. The next thing to pay attention to is the risk to reward ratio. The first number is the amount you have to risk. The second number is the reward. So for example, in Caterpillar, we're risking 2 to make 1. That doesn't sound very good. One way you can skew that, the breakout took place early in the morning. Since the breakout, we've had a lot of chop. Trade is still active. The target's up here. Our stop is down here. And in any point of this, if you get this pullback to that half range level, all of a sudden you've skewed your risk to a 1 for a potential reward of 2, and you can take off your first target at least that 1. So that's how you can use even these 2 to 1 trades that have been on the scanner for some time where the P&L is negative to still find an entry. Now, say the Dow 30 list is small, you can expand that. NASDAQ 100, this gives you some more trades. Keep expanding and you'll get more and more trades that meet your criteria. If you're quite particular about the symbols that you like to trade, just create your own watch list here and load that in to the symbol list. And that way you can make sure that you don't find any symbols that you just don't care about. That's how I would use the live scanner. Now, before I wrap this video up, let me show you how I would also use this platform over the weekend to do some research. So now say Saturdays come around and you want to find what worked this week, what didn't work this week. Now, the first place you could get started is with the index markets, or if you have symbols that you like to trade, maybe it's the Teslas, the Nvidias, whatever it is, input them here. You can go through the ORB ranges. A lot of you are particular with what you like to trade, maybe only a set number of symbols with only the 15-minute range. This is where you can pick and choose. Once you do that, click Run Report, and you'll get this instant summary of performance. Now notice here I did a 90-day performance, but you could also run this for just the past week and see which markets did well, which markets did poorly. You can then run the different permutations. If you remember, we were looking at the half range target and the full range stop for the Caterpillar trade. I could rerun this and see, well, how did this particular strategy perform? You could then split this up, longs, shorts. This is a quick way to query the database and really get a feel for what has been the overall backtest for a small list of symbols. Once you find the symbol you want to dive deeper into, so say here Dow is the one that stands out, that's where you can then come inside of the backtester and actually dive deeper into the Dow. So now I can load in the Dow. I can say, Dow, I'm more intrigued by the 15-minute. We want to analyze the past 3-month performance, and we said this was the half range target, full range stop. Now I get to analyze the Dow in more detail where I see what is its trade expectancy, its win rate. I can now get a breakdown of longs versus shorts, which have been the driver of more of this recent term performance, both in terms of number of trades along with the win rate. You can dive deeper into individual trades to see, okay, what has been the average range for winners? Have the trades in which our average range is much wider, so we can see here, for example, 130, 150, becomes really easy to spot all the places where this number is above 2, and you can start to see what happens when our opening range is wider than usual. Do those typically lead to stops? Do they lead to targets? Build this profile for the symbols that you care about, and that will make the week much easier when the live scanner for whatever those symbols are tells you that, hey, the Dow is triggering that same half range, full range target. We now know where we want to enter. We know what its performance is. We know what its average width is, and we know exactly where we'd like to take this entry. So that's the flow that I like to use. Backtester reports over the weekend, scanner during live market hours, sort by using these default filters, and then work my way through the symbol list, focusing on trades that are open. And you can then dive deeper into any one of these symbols, either in our charting platform or in your charting platform of your own choice to actually place the trades. I hope you found this video helpful. For those of you who are our opening range breakout traders, CRM, that nice trade, you can see just that final plunge, which gives you this idea of you can use this platform throughout the day to find some really nice setups. This was a simple 5-minute opening range breakout setup in which we got that pullback even into the final 15 minutes of the market. And you can see here we're making our way to what would be more than a risk 1 to make 2 in what was less than 20 minutes for a trade that originally triggered early on in the morning. Take care, everyone. Good luck trading. If you'd like to sign up for the opening range breakout platform, we've added a few more of our launch discount spots. Be sure to take advantage of it if this is something that resonates with your trading style. I'll see you in our next update.